Use this leader to focus the picture and adjust the sound volume. The film will then be ready for correct projection.
Since the earliest times, there have been many opinions about what to eat and what not to eat. For instance, in 300 BC, the Egyptians fed garlic to the builders of the Great Pyramids, believing it would give them extra strength. The physicians of ancient Greece believed that donkey liver was a cure for epilepsy. The famous Roman statesman Cato would sometimes eat an all-cabbage diet, believing this would improve his health. And at one time in history, it was thought that some foods, such as tomatoes, were poisonous. Today, there are still many unusual ideas as to what we should eat. In spite of the knowledge gained throughout the centuries, there is still much confusion about what constitutes good nutrition. Why is there so much confusion? What are the fads? What are the facts? Let's examine why there is so much confusion about good nutrition. One reason is that we have been given a lot of misinformation, usually by those looking to make a profit, those who want to sell us something. We're constantly exposed to advertising for various health food products, to so-called nutrition experts on television talk shows, to books written by unqualified writers, and unfortunately, people tend to believe that just because it's in print or on television, it must be true. There's no need for so much confusion, because unlike the early Egyptians, today we have a vast amount of proved scientific knowledge. Modern research techniques have enabled nutrition scientists and researchers to carefully investigate the nutritional needs of the body. With scientifically controlled research, they have learned which foods furnish us with which particular nutrients, so that we now have the basic information necessary as to what constitutes a healthful diet. Let's take a look at some of the areas that contribute to so much nutritional misunderstanding. A good place to start is with those new, magical, guaranteed, painless, no-sweat, quick weight loss diets. Putting on the pounds is so easy. Being overweight is one of the most serious health problems with us today. Unfortunately, this health problem is often aggravated when overweight people try to take pounds off too fast and follow a possibly dangerous and unhealthy fad diet. Dieters seem to grab for anything that promises a quick, easy way to take off weight. This has resulted in the publishing of many nutritionally unsound diets.
Nutrition misinformation surrounds us today. Looking over some of the magazines recently, I found some that were advocating a 100% rice diet to lose weight and stay healthy. Now that's ridiculous. Others would go on and say that you should eat only fruits or only vegetables for a few months. Still others would talk about low carbohydrate as a means of losing weight. My group recently reviewed the magazines and rated them on how well they do on nutrition, and some of them came across very well. Reader's Digest, Red Book, Good Housekeeping, Parents Magazine, and 50 Plus were the highest on our list. When it comes to weight loss, you've got to be realistic. Don't assume that you can lose 10 pounds safely a week. You can't. 1 to 2 pounds is a much more realistic goal.
Protect yourself against unsound and sometimes unsafe nutrition advice. Be particularly wary of a diet that advocates eating only one food at a meal. Any weight loss diet that does not recommend a balanced diet of the 4 food groups should be regarded as unsafe. For sound nutritional advice, check responsible publications and books. Ask your doctor or a registered dietitian. Now, let's separate some more of the fads from the facts. What about so-called health foods? While the health food industry may have helped to make everyone more health conscious, it has unfortunately distorted some basic facts. For instance, there is no scientific evidence that raw milk is more healthful than pasteurized milk. However, it is possible for raw, unpasteurized milk to carry dangerous bacteria. Another area of confusion, sea salt. Salt is salt, sodium chloride, and our bodies react the same to a molecule of salt from the sea as from ordinary table salt. Honey is often recommended in place of sugar, yet honey contains practically no nutrients, and the body doesn't know the difference between it and ordinary table sugar. The same is true of other sugars, such as fructose and glucose. Neither fertile nor brown-shelled eggs has been proved to have any nutritional advantage over the everyday variety. As for the fiber foods, too much fiber may sweep important nutrients from the system before they can be absorbed. Health food promoters frequently overemphasize the importance of specific nutrients so that people will want to be sure they get enough or a little extra, when all they really have to do is eat a wide variety of foods. A major area of confusion is the use of vitamin pills. They are so commonplace that many people are convinced that they are a necessary part of staying healthy. Some people try to make up for a poor diet with vitamin pills. Vitamin pills, however, do not provide energy or contain proteins, carbohydrates, fiber, or many trace elements needed by the body. The misuse of vitamins, the more is better belief, can be dangerous. Fact. Research has shown that there is no need for vitamin pills if one eats a balanced diet, except in special cases. In those cases, there is no need for natural vitamins because the body absorbs food in molecular form and cannot tell the difference between natural or synthetic vitamins. Another favorite of the health food faddist is organically grown foods. Organic usually means foods that have been grown without man-made chemicals of any kind, and only certain natural fertilizers are used. However, research has shown that organic fertilizing has no special benefit to plants because plants absorb nutrients such as nitrogen and phosphorus only in molecular form, regardless of the source. Here's why. When organic matter is used as a fertilizer, it is first broken down into basic nutrient compounds by warmth, moisture, and microorganisms so that plants can absorb them faster. Because all molecules of the same compounds, such as nitrogen, are exactly alike, as we know from basic chemistry, a growing plant doesn't know the difference between organic or man-made fertilizers. Because of our growing population, and therefore a continually growing demand for more food, modern technology has developed chemical fertilizers that enable us to grow not only the vast quantities of food we need, but fertilizers that produce a faster growing, larger fruit or vegetable. The risks of using man-made fertilizers must be weighed against the benefits, as we need chemicals that are safe to man. Constant research is helping to reduce the risks and increase the benefits by assuring us of a more constant food supply. A fact. Throughout history, people have starved because their food supply was destroyed by insects and diseases. Today, growers have available a variety of pesticides which control the insects that could destroy growing crops. Herbicides which kill weeds must also be used because weeds rob growing plants of the nutrients in the soil. And fungicides help control plant diseases. Biological techniques, that is, using one insect to destroy another, are also being developed, but now only account for a small amount of control. These man-made chemicals must be properly used and constantly evaluated so as not to be harmful to human beings, to the soil, or to the rivers and the oceans. The constant monitoring of chemicals in our food is one job of the Food and Drug Administration. They sample selected foods daily by case lots at the wholesale level and process them through a series of carefully controlled tests to determine how much, if any, chemical residue is left on food. Scientific testing has determined what the chemical residue levels may be. Acceptable daily intake limits are set with accumulation safety levels in mind. Testing procedures involve grinding food into a pulpy mixture. Specimens are then examined by such highly scientific techniques as gas chromatography, infrared or ultraviolet spectrometry. These tests show the presence of a wide range of chemicals. If technicians find that residues of these chemicals exceed the safety limits established by law, the shipment is condemned and cannot be sold. While government control measures are effective, and the FDA is constantly striving to improve them, they are not 100% perfect. We must continually work to make the benefits outweigh the risks. Consider this. It's estimated that over the next 30 years, the world's population will double. So we will need to produce twice as much food as we're producing now. Scientific research has also helped us to increase the amount of livestock and chicken available to us. In the past, some chemicals used in their food were found undesirable and have been banned by government regulation. Researchers must not only monitor for quality, but must also look for new ways to increase productivity so that we have a safe food supply. Another area of nutrition about which there is some misunderstanding involves the processing of food. Much of the food we produce must be processed. Now, just what do we mean by that? Well, processed foods are those that are canned, frozen, or dried, that are cleaned, cut, peeled, or cooked. Although fresh fruits and vegetables are picked at the height of their season, it has been argued that processing destroys much of their nutritional value. Research has shown that some nutrients may be lost in processing, but the amount is very small. Careful testing has shown that frozen foods retain most of their nutrients, while foods that are canned lose slightly more, but still not enough to be of concern. Also, although processed foods lose few nutrients, some are lower in fiber content and higher in fat, salt, and sugar. An advantage of processed foods is the convenience. They also allow us to enjoy a wide variety of foods, regardless of the time of year or where we live. A very important part of processing foods is the use of additives. Additives may be either what we consider natural, such as salt, sugar, vinegar, and spices, which have been used for centuries, or they may be man-made chemicals. Without additives, again, our food supply would be threatened. The purpose of food additives is the same as it's always been. They can make what we eat taste better, look better, last longer safely, or preserve nutrients. Additives help prevent many foods from spoiling and give them a longer and safer shelf life. In many products, vitamins or minerals are added to ensure good nutritional value. Additives keep salad oil from separating and turning rancid. Table salt is kept from turning hard and lumpy. Canned foods could deteriorate faster and lose some of their food value. Additives add color and flavor, which make food more appealing. Without additives, convenience foods such as baking mixes and instant puddings would not be as good as they are. A big danger is always food poisoning, a danger additives help prevent. While processed foods are acceptable as part of one's diet, most nutritionists advise using fresh foods, foods as close to their natural state as possible. But what about some of those chemicals in our processed food, with names that are almost unpronounceable? What troubles many people is not what additives do to food, but what they do to us. Are these fears justified? It's the job of the Food and Drug Administration to test additives to determine whether or not they are safe. Sometimes the results are not clear, and consideration is given to the harm a substance might do as weighed against the good we know it can do. Its use may be allowed while further studies are made. Consuming too much of any substance can be harmful. The question is one of amount. For instance, too much table salt, which is the chemical sodium chloride, can be dangerous. Large quantities of nitrogen, phosphorus, or chlorine can be dangerous, but they are all necessary in small amounts to good health. The labels on food products list their contents, and much can be learned by reading them. However, know what you're reading, as the names of some perfectly safe chemicals can sound threatening. Because there is so much misleading information, how can we tell the fads from the facts? Well, watch for such generalizations as doctors say, we have reports of, or this product may prevent disease. Question the credentials of the person making the statement. After all, anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. Ask yourself, are these statements designed to make a profit for someone?
There really is no need for all of this confusion, as the basics for sound nutrition are very simple. Our growth and health depends to a large extent on what and how much we eat. We don't need special health foods or food supplements. We just need to select our diet from the 4 basic food groups: the vegetable and fruit group, the bread and cereal group, the milk and cheese group, the meat, poultry, fish, and beans group. What is most important is to select a variety of foods from each food group. Not every food in the same food group contains the same amount of certain nutrients. That's why it's necessary to select a wide variety of foods from each of the 4 food groups. This will provide the average person with all of the vitamins, minerals, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates needed for good health. Variety is the key not only for interest in eating, but for the different nutrients offered.
The human body is a marvelous, complex mechanism with a very delicate balance. Yet the plain facts about nutrition are very simple to learn and follow. There is no need for miracle products or diets. Remember that what you have just seen should help you to know the difference between food fads and food facts.